Hey, it's me again. This time our video will be about the distributive property of multiplication. That's a mouthful. But once you learn the process and you practice, guess what, guys? It will become quite easy for you because you already know how to use the expanded form. So we're going to combine the expanded form with multiplication to get the distributive property of multiplication. So before we get started, I'm going to pause the video and let you get your paper and your pencil to practice. You got your tools? So let's get started. Turn to a clean sheet of paper, and if you'd like, go ahead and write the distributive property of multiplication on that piece of paper and copy this equation. If I'm going too fast, guess what you do? You hit pause on your computer, copy what you need to get copied, and then hit play to continue. All right? All right, good job, boys and girls. Okay, so we're going to use the expanded form of this number, and we're going to multiply it times this factor. We can't expand this number. Do you know why? Because it's just a single digit number, and it's only ones. So it's already in expanded form, isn't it? So I'm going to show you how you can take this factor and multiply it times each digit here, the value of each of these digits. All right, so just copy what I do. First step, we're going to take the factor 6. I'm going to start over here to the left of my paper. And this is our operation. We're multiplying, so write times. And then what I want you to do is we're going to put this in expanded form, and we're going to put it in parentheses. So let's start with a open parenthesis. And let's expand the 2. The 2 is in the hundredths place, so we write that as 200 plus the digit 5 is 50, or the value is 50, and the 7, the value is 7. All right, so this is step 1. We take the factor, we multiply it, and we expand the other factor, and we put it in parentheses. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, we're going to take this factor, and we're going to multiply it times the hundredths place. Then we're going to take it, and we're going to multiply it times the tens place. And then we're going to take this factor, and we're going to multiply it times the ones place. So again, pause and copy what I do, and go back and replay this if you need to hear it again. So let's start with the factor 6. And again, we're going to use parentheses. You don't always have to. You won't always see it in parentheses. I use parentheses because I like to keep my math organized. So we're going to take the 6, and we're going to multiply it times how many hundreds we have. That's step 1. Step 2, we need to put a plus sign. We're going to take the factor, and now we're going to multiply it times the expanded form of the tens place. So again, parentheses, 6 times 50. Close parentheses. And what symbol do we need here? The plus sign. And the last step is we're going to multiply the factor 6 times the value of the ones place. 6 times 7. All right. So once you've done that, we have a couple more steps. Now we're going to multiply 6 times 200. So when you multiply 6 times 200, think of, well, what is 6 times 2? And remember, when we multiply by 2, we double the other factor. So double 6, or 2 times 6, or 6 times 2 is 12. So I'm going to write 12. And because this number is a multiple of 200, it has 2 zeros. We are going to put those 2 zeros on the back of the 12. So really, 6 times 200 is not 12. It is 1,200, or some people say 1,200. And don't forget your comma. Let's do this next one. The basic fact is 6 times 5. I know that 6 times 5 or 5 times 6 is 30. But because we're multiplying times a multiple of 10, we're going to have to put this 0 to the back of the 30 to make it actually 300, because 6 times 50 is 300. And then our last multiplication partial product, 6 times 7, 6 groups of 7 or 7 groups of 6. Got to know your math facts. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42 is 42. Now you notice there's a plus sign. So what do you think we're going to do with these three numbers? We need to add them up to get the product or the answer to a multiplication problem. So what I want you to do on your paper is stack these up by place value and then see if we came up with the right product. All right, I stacked up my partial products, 1,200 plus 300 plus 42 by place value, lined it up. I did not have to regroup anything. And I always ask my boys and girls to circle their final answer. So make sure you circle your final answer so that it's easy to spot. And let's read this together. 1, 2, 3. 1,542. So guess what? You just did your first distributive property of multiplication. Let's try one more. All right, this is yours. We're going to multiply 5 times 2,593. These two numbers are called your factors. And what we want to find is the product or the answer to a multiplication problem using this distributive property of multiplication. I'm going to remind you of the steps and you write them down. I will pause, write the answer, and then you check yours with me. So your first step, boys and girls, is you're going to write 5 times, and then we're going to write this number in expanded form. You have 4 digits, so you're going to have the thousands place, the hundreds place, the tens place, and your ones place. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and I want you to fill that in expanded form using this number, please. Okay, we're back. So check yours with mine. You should have written 2,000 plus 500 plus 90 plus 3. So good job, boys and girls. That's just the first step. So let me get you started on the next step and then you're going to fill in the rest, okay? So remember, we're going to take this factor and we have to multiply it times the thousands. We're going to have to multiply it times the hundreds. We're going to multiply it times the tens. And we're going to take that factor and multiply it times the ones place. But what does that actually look like? Remember the parentheses. First one I'll do for you and then you do the rest. Okay, the first one I'm going to write in parentheses is 5 times 2,000. And then don't forget your plus sign. And then you're going to write this one here. That's going to be a 5. This one's going to be 5 times. I don't have room for this one, so we're going to write it down here. Okay, so now you're going to continue with the distributive property. I've done the first one for you. Go ahead and do your hundreds, your tens, and your ones. I'm going to pause, write the answers in, and then we can check against yours, okay? Go ahead and finish that, please. All right, you should have written 5 times 500 plus 5 times 90 plus 5 times your 3, okay? So now we're almost done. Now we're going to multiply each of these. I'm going to do 2 of them with you, and then you do the last 2. So 5 times 2,000, I know that 5 times 2 is 10. And then we have to add the 3 zeros to the back. 1, 2, 3. So 5 times 2,000 is 10,000. And now let's do the next one. 5 times 5 is 25. But what do we do with those 2 zeros that are on the back of the 500, boys and girls? Where do we put those? We're going to put them on the back here. We're going to add those 2 zeros here, please. And so now we know that 5 times 500 is 2,500. All right, you do these last two and then come back and let's see what you got. Okay, pause. All right, did you get 450 for 5 times 90? And for 5 times 13, you should have gotten 15. So here is our partial products. So we're going to add those all up, and you know what to do. You're going to stack them, you're going to add them, and that is your last step. So I'm going to pause, and let's compare our answers when I come back. You do it, I do it, and then we look and share. All right, so I had to erase some stuff because then I ran out of room. So we added our 4 partial products together. I stacked them by place value position, started in my ones place, put in my comma. So let's read our product together. This is 12,965. Okay. Go do the rest of your lesson. I think you're ready for it. Again, if you have any questions, email me, send me a message, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe I can make another video, or maybe we can meet on Zoom. Okay. Good luck today.